Hey guys, it's Tim and Lindsay here with the Tolo podcast. We are coming at you from our car today.
Yeah.
Like always,
Let's go.
sitting side by side, going in the same direction, having conversation centered around what God has done in our lives, in us, through us, and just continuing to walk in the truth and obedience and the overflow that He's given us.
That's right.
And leaving a legacy. So, if you are new around here, I'm Lindsay. This is my husband, Tim. And today we are going to discuss our marriage testimony. Or just like our story, I guess. Maybe it's not so much our testimony, but yeah, I'm excited about this one. So if you have been following along with us, you know that we went through just an overview of who we are, our heart for this podcast, why we're doing it, why we're coming at you from our car. And then we went into your story, where God met you, how He's been just so active in your life, and the grace that follows you, which follows all of us, obviously. But just really diving into things that made you who you were and who you are. And then we went into my story, and now we kind of just stopped them at marriage.
Yeah.
Which is where I think we both would agree, like, life really started.
Yeah, I think just being obviously so young when we got married, I got in trouble still underage.
Yeah.
And then getting pregnant with Bentley and just, I feel like, that's definitely where things begin to shift, and the things that we walked out together had so much impact and really got us here to where we're at.
Yes. So today's episode, I really want to dive into, I want it to start with Bentley.
Okay.
And then I want to go to I want to end it and do a part 2 of Tennessee.
Okay.
And what God, how God brought us to Tennessee and what He's done in our marriage while we've been here for the last 4.5 years. So I want to start with getting pregnant with Bentley. So I think in true, honest, real fashion, we have nothing to hide. Especially if you know us, you already know this. So we got pregnant with Bentley in August of 2011. Yes, because he was born in 2012. So
5/11.
yeah, we always get that mixed up because his birthday is the 11th, but it was 2012. So we get pregnant with him. We find out we're pregnant, and we're kind of gonna walk through that, because I think what we're learning a lot right now is, being young adult pastors, is we're learning that love can come in so many different ways, tough love, especially. Yeah. And so I really want to go back and unpack the tough love with
dimensions of love.
Yeah, dimensions of love is how you like to say it. So I really want to go through this tough love season. So we get pregnant with Bentley, and I guess I'll say it from my how I remember it. He's 13 now, so there's that. But I remember it was a Wednesday. And why I remember it was a Wednesday is kind of crazy. But anyway, I remember waking up, and normally I would work out in the morning with my parents, and because we had a little garage gym. And I remember waking up and texting them hey, I really feel just terrible, I can't work out this morning, and I have to go to work later, I'm not gonna work out. And I remember not even thinking twice about it. Just, I don't feel good. I haven't really felt great. And so then I remember walking into the house, because I was in a room in the garage, and my dad was like, "You are so sick." And I was like, "Yeah, I think I have the flu. This is crazy." And he's like, "You're pregnant." And I'm like, "No, I'm not pregnant." no, you know. And so I made a doctor's appointment because I'm like, okay, I'm like really sick. Like it was bad. And so sure enough, I go to the doctor. Like I've been on birth control for years at this point.
Right.
And he was like, it's a family doctor, and he's like, hey, so because you're on birth control, like I still have to give you a pregnancy test. I'm pretty sure you're not pregnant. Like the flu's going around, no big deal. So obviously I'm like, okay, I'm not really freaking out because like I'm on birth control, like yet knowing good and well like what we do.
Yeah.
In secret. And so sure enough, he walks in and he's like, so we don't have to move forward in anything else. You're definitely pregnant. And I'm like, what? What? And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I remember calling you. Yeah, at this point, you're like 5-6 months into having your DUI.
Yeah.
Walking through that whole process to, you can't drive. So like I'm driving you to work. I'm picking you up from work, like all the things, trying to just walk that out. And I call you and I'm like, we are freaking pregnant. We're pregnant. Like, we are pregnant. What in the world?
Yeah.
And so just kind of being shocked in that moment, I remember feeling so like, okay. That day the plan was to get married in Hawaii.
Yeah.
We were supposed to put a deposit down literally that day. Like God knew, go figure.
Crazy.
Can't pull a fast one on God.
Nope.
But, had to call, the lady who was planning the wedding in Hawaii and be like, hey, so like I can't put this deposit down because I just found out I'm pregnant. Like by the time we're gonna be getting married, I'm gonna be having a baby, basically. Yeah. And just feeling so crushed. Like even though we knew that we were playing with fire.
Yep.
And just feeling like, you had your DUI, here we're trying to get married, like we're gonna have a baby, and in all of this transition, like we're going to church, doing the Christian duty to go to church, show up on a Sunday, and just feeling like, how now are we going to like get married? How, like, what does this look like?
Right.
And so I remember that night we had to tell my dad, and he was like, okay, so, and he's a pretty like even keeled guy.
Yeah.
So like not mad, not yelling.
Yeah, very loving.
I mean, definitely like upset, sad, which I mean, and not about the baby, but like just in general.
Yeah, pretty disappointed.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, you have to move out.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like, what do you mean?
I almost think sometimes too, like looking back on it, like I wonder if he almost felt kind of guilty.
Yeah.
So like, again, from my story, my parents left and moved to Texas.
Yeah.
I'd been staying in the house I grew up in, and then my dad was thinking about selling that house. So then I moved in with my friend Dayton and lived with him.
Until you got in trouble.
Then I got in trouble, and then moved out of there too. So I really had nowhere to go at that point with how fast that had gone. And so to know that like your parents allowed, me to come stay.
Right. And we abused that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I think just there was already so much grace there, and I don't think he had an option. Mm-hmm. So like I never felt like it was a personal attack. It was kind of just like, here, I trusted you, allowed this, and now this is what we're walking through.
Right.
And yet still grace was given.
Mm-hmm.
And I know where you're going as far as the tough love that was shown.
Yeah.
Just helped us grow. It's almost like looking back, it was like the greatest thing that could have happened.
Yeah. In the moment, it didn't feel that way.
Right.
At all.
Yeah, it was scary.
But I think looking back, like so thankful because it pushed us into having conversations and really truly walking out, like adulthood, I guess.
Yeah.
Because here I'm 19, you're 20. You just got a DUI. I'm pregnant. And basically it's like, you have to move out. So literally we go talk to my uncle and my aunt. We tell them, they're the first people we tell outside of that, outside of my parents. And they're like, okay, like, here's how God works.
Here's the options.
Like, you already were working for him, and they had just had one of their fourplexes open up. So we were able to move in literally that weekend.
Yep.
And we moved ourselves out. We moved ourselves in. I think there was a lot of like frustration and feeling a little bit like we were, I'm going to say abandoned.
Oh, that was a great word. I was going to use that too.
But like looking in the moment, it felt that way. But looking back, it's like that tough love, like it advanced us into so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Like having difficult conversations, having to confront things that we had to.
We talk about it all the time, right? Pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Like squeezing you. When you get squeezed, what's really inside you is going to come out.
Right. So I think that just like really put it into perspective of like, okay, we really can't afford to even live on our own, but we made it like, because God had so much grace on our lives, even if we didn't realize it in the moments, in those moments, like he still was making a way for us and always continually using people like Uncle Joe and Aunt Kim to just like create these foundations that I feel like now, 14 years later, we're like, without that, we wouldn't have that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, now it's so much gratitude, so much thankfulness. At least I feel like for us, like we are so out of a bad situation, right? God always redeems it for good.
Yeah.
And we always talk about it too. Like Bentley is our biggest blessing.
Yeah.
And we love all of our kids, and that is like, no doubt, we love all of them. But each of them in a different season brought something for us to like walk through, learn, and grow in. And I think Bentley was just that first step of like really having to walk through a lot of hard things, learning how to grow up a little bit faster and quicker, learning who we were as individuals, and like now that we're bringing this new life into the world, like how are we going to steward him? How are we going to grow him up? How are we going to represent ourselves to him? And just having then conversations at 19 and 20 about parenting.
Well, it's really the best way to learn, right? I always go back to like, I think I heard it from T.D. Jakes when I read his book Soar. It's like an eagle, when the baby eagle is getting ready to leave, the mom actually pushes the baby out of the nest because it's already inside them to fly.
Yeah.
Like they have everything they already need to soar.
Right.
It's just that little bit of push. And so I think looking back, and especially like you're saying, being young adult pastors, like how much that this generation doesn't understand of like kind of growing, like how much fruit you can actually begin to bear when you're pushed out of the nest and you're forced to sink or swim, to fly or to fall.
Yeah.
Because either way is going to be amazing, right? Whether you soar and you actually take off, it's good. And even whether you hit the ground, you're going to learn something.
Right.
You're going to understand like, okay, that's not where I should go. That's not where I should walk.
Yeah.
But I think there's so much like protection and almost fear, and we're seeing that, right? Even last night, just kind of what I preached on to them in what they think when it comes to hearing God. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
A lot of emotional anxiety behind that because they don't want to miss it, yet they're never pushed into those scenarios to like just walk out life, like just learn as you go, and know that there is grace all over your life. It's
like they never test it.
Yeah.
They never test the grace.
Well, they don't find the joy in the process. They're always so focused on the outcome of how I want to be used and what this looks like. And
then it's coming from a place of fear instead of a place of like hope and expectation of like, I know God's with me, so like no matter if I sink, God's there with me. So
Right.
like he's still going to use it.
Absolutely.
So like even in our situation with Bentley, it was like, okay, this is a baby we're bringing into the world. Like, sure, were there like frustrations and like disappointment? Sure, but like Bentley, even to this day, is one of our biggest blessings. And we'd never change it.
Absolutely.
Like I would never change it. I would not go back and change any of it.
Right.
Because that push out of the nest, the push to like have difficult conversations, the push to be honest about like what we were doing, because I think at that time too, we're talking about living in the Pacific Northwest, so a little bit different than being in the Bible Belt, but like still regardless you have religious people, and feeling like you just sinned. I mean, you're operating in sin, and now everybody knows it. Your sin is out for exposure. And I think very quickly the Lord was like, yeah, you guys aren't going to ever be able to operate. I'm not going to allow you to operate in sin, because like even with you got caught in your drinking and doing all of that and getting in trouble, right? And so then it was like, there is no way that you can try to separate yourself from me, as in God, to operate in sin continually. Like it's always going to be something that he is like, I'm calling you back to me, and I'm going to show you the grace and the mercy, and I'm going to continually show up for the walk with you, so that way that every single time I came through.
Yeah.
And it's who he is. It's his intentional consistency in our lives, right, that he has shown up, and he's continually just made himself known. And
that's good.
He uses that, like even in our hardest moments, he has used that for good. And I really believe that is part of what we're going to be walking through in this next season, especially with our young adults. But anyway, going back, tangent. So we get married in December. I'm
not in Hawaii.
Not in Hawaii. I already had a dress for the beach and didn't use it in a beach. Instead, it was freezing cold. I'm pretty sure it snowed the next day. And not my ideal wedding. If you know me personally, you know that like, yeah, we spent like less than $1,500 on the entire wedding. And not at all how Lindsay would have, I mean, cheap maybe, but like there were a lot of things that I would have done differently.
Yeah.
So not ideal, but it was kind of like at that point, I think too, and my personality as well is like, I just want to be married, so I don't really care. Like, just let me be married to you. Which we were engaged before we found out that we were pregnant. Not to justify anything, but regardless, we knew we wanted to be married.
Yep.
Like this isn't something that was new to us.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah, we get married, and so fast forward, we have Bentley, and he was so fun to have.
Yeah.
He was so fun. I think that was the first time I was able to walk through a promise that I heard from the Lord, and know, even in those moments of like being, I'm going to say distant from the Lord, because we weren't like actively trying to be in the Word. We weren't actively trying to pursue a relationship with him. At that point too, I was so hurt by the church, and really I was hurt by people. I mean, let's be honest, like the whole church hurt thing, no, you're just claiming that because it's a building that you were in and it happened to be a church, but really you were hurt by people. I mean, I don't go into Walmart and be like, Walmart hurt me.
Right.
Like, no, I mean, I was hurt by people.
Yeah.
And I think that was really hard for me, especially because for me personally, like, I was always the do everything the right way, always give 110% effort, and this was the one thing that I like was keeping so secret.
Right.
And so anyway, that was definitely a crushing moment, yet such a building moment, because it was everything I had prayed for. And so that was like, okay, when I was a girl praying to be married to you, having your babies, like I am literally walking in the days that I prayed for. So having Bentley was such a blessing. It was so healing. It was so, I want to say rejuvenating.
I was gonna say restoration.
Yeah.
Restoring.
And then Bentley, right before Bentley's first birthday, I think he's like 10 months old, almost 11 months old, and we find out my mom has cancer. We find out that she has stage 4 breast cancer, and it's very serious. So I think in those moments, that's when I was like, Lord, that's when I went back to the roots of like, I know who you are. I know what the word says about you, but I know that sitting with you, praying and just continually seeking after you, Lord, like I know that spot.
Yeah.
And that's the spot I need to get back to. And so we find out she has cancer. I think like a month later we find out we're pregnant with Mia, or we find out we're pregnant again. And it was just like this moment of feeling crushed because the chances of my mom living at this point were slim.
Yeah.
Feeling like she was such an active grandparent. She was so, just watching her with Bentley was so healing for me.
Yeah.
And then knowing we were bringing another life into the world, and this time it was so different, than the first time. And just feeling like, okay, Lord, like how is this going to look?
Right.
And why, and just begging God, like, finally Mom and I were having a relationship.
Yep.
We had like common ground. And I mean, God is so intentional, because looking back, he knew that we needed Bentley, because I think Bentley was so healing for my mom. Because anytime she had a bad day, it was like Bentley was who she would go get French fries with and ice cream. And she didn't want me. She didn't want you. Like, she wanted him. Yeah. And I think just being able to see God's goodness in that, like while she walked through cancer, and obviously with Bentley being so young, it was probably better than him being older, because then his understanding of it was a lot, less, obviously, because he was just a child who had so much innocence.
Right.
And so Bentley had such a divine purpose.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
In his timing, and God definitely just continually revealed that time and time again. So we get pregnant with Mia, and I think experiencing that in a new way, God redeemed that with her, because now there's not like this shame and guiltiness and feeling like we're having to like walk out what we're hiding.
Yeah. Like
with Bentley. And so then Mia, it was like more celebratory and like just so, I'm going to say freeing, which is so funny, because like personality wise, when you look at our kids, like that's who Mia is. Yeah. Like God is so intentional, and I love it. So then Mia, we end up having Mia, and obviously she's a girl, and I never thought that I was going to be a girl mom, ever. And so I think Mia, Mia was just a new sense of like redemption, of getting to experience a girl, because I always thought I'd be a boy mom. I never thought I'd be a girl mom, ever. Especially being so just like into sports, and growing up, like, sure, I played sports with girls, but like I really didn't really resonate. Like my best friend was a girl, obviously, but like it was so just like surface level.
Yeah.
But yeah, experiencing Mia was fun. It was very different, but
I think like you're saying, right? Like I think just the timing of grandkids for your mom,
Mm-hmm.
and what we had walked through, like at the end of your high school with her,
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to figure out life, and yeah, like restoration, healing all over it,
Yeah.
and bringing us closer together,
Mm-hmm.
and just mending that relationship between you guys,
Yeah.
and just for all of us,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, I mean, for me at that moment too, even though I got in trouble, I wasn't doing it as bad away from you, but I was still drinking.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you were still being stupid.
okay.
Um,
True.
Yeah. So I know our kids just in that season, it sure wasn't like the picture perfect story and like looked right and was this way that, most people grow up believing that their life is going to look and be. But I just love that God was like, this is how it's going to go for you guys. And like, if you can trust me, like, there will be so much goodness that come from this.
Right.
And like, being that Bentley and, our kids are our first fruit, I think it's amazing to get to know and really see that, like, hindsight. Like, again, the word that I keep coming back to is like, God is so intentional. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot convince me otherwise. I remember one day I like came to you and I was just like, how come we never hear in God's character? Like, I've never heard a preacher, and I'm not saying this has never happened and Lindsay's come up with this revelation. Like, I understand that is not the case, not saying that. But like, how come we don't talk about how intentional God is?
Mm.
Like, that is who he is, and I don't think nobody can convince me otherwise.
Absolutely.
Like, God was so intentional to know, like, in order to advance Tim and Lindsay to walk in things and do difficult things side by side together, having each other's backs for what's to come, it had to start with Bentley.
Mm. Yeah.
And then it was like, in order to, redeem and restore things in their lives, I'm going to give them Mia.
Mm.
And a new sense of joy all over again. And like, to know that at that time my mom was going to have cancer. I mean, so many things were lining up that if we wanted to have the lens of negativity and like, oh God, where are you? How could you? Like,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, because during that time, I remember there were a lot of other things happening in like our community of just remembering, like, why does my mom have cancer? Like, why does she have to be the one suffering and going through all of this hell when like these people are not even as good of people as her? But it was like, God already knew that she's good and like what her death would actually bring forth.
Mm.
And so even in that, like, he was just showing how intentional he was and how actually like her death was going to bring so much life into the kingdom.
Yeah.
And so, these other people who are going through and doing terrible things, I think we always hear that, like, why do always the good people die? Like, the people who have the families who, are so intentional and these amazing people in the communities or whatever, like, why do they suffer and die?
Yeah.
Yet these people who do these awful things, like, nothing happens to them. And I really believe that even when my mom was going through cancer and like continually, like, her faith was what she had.
Mm.
And she would talk to anybody. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't matter what your belief was.
Right.
And she was going to allow God to use her even if it meant death.
Mm.
And I think she realized that and was willing. She was willing.
Yeah.
I never, and as her daughter, maybe there were conversations I wasn't a part of, but I do feel like towards the end we would have so many intentional conversations of like, even for me, just being like, Mom, like, you did do your part.
Mm.
Like, you did restore this. You did. And not that I wasn't hurt. And I just, obviously, I would love for her to be here. That's a conversation I have constantly. But just part of my testimony too is like losing her. So So fast forward, Bentley's 3, Mia's 1. We're trying to get pregnant again because we know that her life is coming. Well, at this point, we're not sure. She moves to Missouri because that's where she's originally from.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, and at that point, you were like, Robin, just stay here. And
Mm-hmm.
she just kept saying, like, these are the loud things that I remember. Like, no, I never want the kids to see, and I don't want you guys to have to take care of me. And so I think she knew. Like, I believe that God, I don't know that I've admitted it out loud, but like, I believe that God spoke to her, and that was in January, that God spoke to her and was like, yeah, your life is like, this is about to come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she knew it because then he was calling her to a new place to do the same thing that God was going to use her in Missouri, in her family. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I guess I'm just connecting these dots literally real time right now. Wow, this is nuts. To just use her to spend time, to be intentional, for her life to mean something, mm-hmm. to show others. I literally think that she walked out her life as if, like, yes, she believed that Christ was in her, and wherever she went, he was with her.
Yeah.
Therefore, like, people would have to encounter him because they were encountering her. And I think he knew that she was so willing that when she left, it was only, almost 10 months. So she lived for 10 more months. Mm-hmm. And I remember we were trying to get pregnant, which, like, we could think about being pregnant, and we were pregnant. And it was frustrating. Like, I remember calling her being like, I don't understand why we're not getting pregnant. Like, I want you to see more of your grandkids. And I just remember being so stressed out about it and feeling like I was doing everything right. Like, I was eating right, I was exercising, like, I was doing all the things right. And, like, God, why won't you grant me this one thing to have my mom walk through it with me again? And I think it's because deep down, selfishly, I thought, like, oh, if I get pregnant, God will let her live longer to see me have another baby. I don't think I've ever admitted that out loud either. Wow. Okay. Here are some confessions from the heart. Yeah, I think I thought I could manipulate God into that. Not I know that was my heart posture. Of like, God, you won't give me the very thing that I want to bring life into this world so that she can live. Thinking like that would do something. Yet, again, how intentional God is, he waited for us to find out when she literally wasn't even, like, she was in a morphine-induced coma at this point. Because he knew he had to meet me in that room. Sheesh. Wow. So many things. So we go to, okay, so kind of all over the map here. So January, she tells us we're moving. Or she's moving. She's moving. Crushed. Devastated. I have these babies. We're trying to have another baby. So she flies us out with the kids to see her in the end of April.
Did I switch jobs before that, or was it after?
That was literally like when you were about to switch jobs. Yeah. You were literally about to switch. Because when you got back is when you started.
Yeah.
And so we go, and during that time, like, she had to have known. This is why I'm like, you can't convince me that she didn't know. She knew. So during that time, she's like getting sick. She's, like struggling to like be present. But like when she could be present, she was present. And it kind of threw us off because I thought she was okay. I didn't know that anything was wrong. I don't think any of us really knew that anything was wrong. And so a little bit concerning, obviously, with her being sick on this trip. But like, we were doing fun things with the kids. Yeah. And she threw them like birthday parties because it was about around their birthdays. Like, Mia turned 1, Bentley turned 3. And she was so intentional with that trip. So intentional. And while I believe she knew she was dying. Like, she knew this could be the very last time we ever see each other. And I remember, like, standing in the airport, come back home, and she was like, okay, like, I'll see you later. And I was like, we can't do this. Like, don't do this to me. Because I think that was the moment that the Lord was like, when you get on this plane, like, you guys will not see her living.
Mm.
And that was a moment that, like, I believe that I heard the Lord speak that to prepare me, yet it felt so, I didn't want to believe it.
Mm.
And again, like, how could you take this from me?
Yeah.
And so that all happens beginning of May, end of April, beginning of May. We, in middle of August, we find out we're pregnant, because I get sick, like, immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And my aunt is like, hey, you need to come.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's bad. And how I remember it is like, you need to come, and I'm like, I can't. Like, I can't do this physically, I can't do this emotionally. I don't know that I want to accept this reality.
Yeah.
And being true Lindsay, like, stubborn and very like, I'm okay. So I think God also knew, like, I had to put you in a vulnerable state of being pregnant and sick so that you could even be willing. And so then I fly out because my aunt, like, we couldn't afford it, but my aunt pulled some strings, got people to donate. I fly out. I'm sicker than a dog. I get there that night, and I also remember, like, don't ask me to do something like that. Like, that was a very pivotal moment for me, because doing something that difficult and hard, like, alone, absolutely not. Like, don't ask me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember feeling like, as we have kids coming, I remember feeling like, I can't go in this room.
Mm.
And I don't even know what I'm, like, about to walk into. And being the person of, like, I have no emotion. I don't want to, like, feel my emotions, because sports had just numbed all of that. And, like, I did not want to have to go into that room and feel something. So I remember walking into the house, and my grandma's like, you need to go in there. You need to go talk to her. Like, mind you, she's in a morphine-induced coma. Like, she is, at this point, not really there. And I remember just being like, I can't do this. Like, God, I cannot do this. And then this moment of, you have to. Like, you have to do this hard thing. And so I remember walking in the room, sitting down, and she's laying in this bed, and it was so cold. It just felt so just blah, I guess, in the room. And I remember being so scared, and finally just, like, breaking down crying. And I remember holding her hand. I remember thinking, like, I don't know what to tell you. And I remember just pleading with God, like, God, I need you to show up. Like, I need you to help, and I need you to, like, give me strength to walk through this. And sitting in that room, the Lord, again, I believe he spoke to me in that moment and just was like, tell her you're pregnant. Like, if you believe that I am God, tell her you're pregnant. And I remember I'm, like, holding her hand, right? And I was like, Mom, like, I'm pregnant, and I'm just sobbing. Like, I can't not tell her. And I just remember feeling so crushed, so heavy, so just frustrated, so broken. And in that moment, she squeezed my hand. And so then I cried again, thinking, like, this cannot be, like, the truth. This cannot be real. Like, you cannot tell me that you just squeezed my hand. And the Lord was like, this is my grace on your life. Like, I'm here. And so I remember just crying and letting her know that, like, I don't know, like, just apologizing and feeling all of the feels in that moment. So I go to my uncle's house, wake up the next morning, she's passed. And I believe that that was God's grace to be like, you needed to be there to start this healing process. And so that was a process. So I'm pregnant. We have Jordan. Go figure. We have Lindsay's mini-me. Walking through that, like, I always say, like, she has got to be laughing. Because, you know, in true parent fashion, you would call your parent and be like, come deal with your granddaughter because you dealt with me, so you know how to do this, you know, and them saying something silly like, well, yeah, this is what you did.
Yeah.
You know? And so
well, I just remember, like, I've never seen a more attached baby.
Yes.
So,
she's
like,
still that way.
Like, whatever, like, bond
she's not a baby, though.
Was created in that, like, whatever she was feeling through you is, like, ingrained into her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's still like that.
Yeah.
She is still like that 9 years later.
Well, it's, like, the most, like, close but, like, want to be away. Like, you butt heads.
Yeah.
But can't live with, it's weird.
Yeah.
But powerful.
I would agree. This is hilarious because the mailman just came and the kids are out here trying to figure out these packages that they are being nut jobs about. But anyway.
Taylor's out here in his diaper, half awake.
Yeah. Oh no.
Boy.
Yeah, so I think walking through that with each of our kids, and I know we have one that we haven't gotten to yet, but my mom, like that healing process with my mom to know that like it was going to be something it was so divine by God. And that's where God had to break me. That's where God broke me and met me. Of like, Lindsay, you were this person growing up. Now we're maturing, we're growing, and we're becoming into what I have designed you to all along be. And to be able to know that like the frustration, the hurt, the non-emotions, the bitterness was like, yeah, you're either going to have to like let all that go or you're going to pass this along to these kids. And so obviously it was a process of having to be stripped and refined. And I think that was the moment where I realized, like, if this is what your refining feels like, Lord, like, I want this. Because I know you're close, and I've watched you take things that did break me, that should break people. And, like, you have been so consistent and so intentional with me to bring it. Every bit of it is goodness. And in those moments, he revealed who he is to me. And so I know you've heard me say it, and I will die on the rock that like my mom's life was it was meant to advance me and the kids into things of him. It made me be it makes me be a better mom, knowing what I don't have, and not trying to operate out of lack of like, oh, well, I don't have this, so, and using that card like that, but it is like, I do know what I miss out on. And so therefore I want to be every bit of that. Does that make sense? So yeah. That was probably a lot longer than what I wanted to spend on my mom, but yeah. So then, let's see. So then my mom passes. We have Jordan. That was a lot. Yeah, fighting with a 3-year-old because she is the same exact person is crazy. I could tell you some really funny stories there, and not funny stories. But Jordan, I think, was that reminder of like, you were so much more like your mother than you realize. And so, again, just that like constant reminder of what you think you lack, you actually don't, because it's inside of you. And I think that's how God also just reminds me of who he is. Like, you think you have lack, but you really don't, because you have me, Lindsay. And so then let's fast forward to, because now we're 24, 25. We buy a house. Literally, I have Jordan, and you have to leave the next day to go sign papers on our house. We buy a house. You've always thought that you would build our house.
I will.
No, and I know you will. Sorry, that's not what I was trying to say. I just meant like, we buy a house. And again, I think just having that feels so, it just felt like my mom was there. So we have a house. We have 3 kids at this point. You are working for the city, but also doing side work. So you're basically working 7 days a week, and we're getting back into church. And mainly, I'm looking like a single mom taking 3 kids to church. And yeah, I think on the outside looking in, like, everything was fine. But really, like, I was doing my thing. You were doing your thing. It wasn't a quote unquote united marriage. Like, I loved you, you loved me, we were willing to do anything we needed to do, but it wasn't like we had, I think Uncle Joe and Aunt Kim were probably, I would say, I mean, coming from divorced families, like, they were the model, the expectation, at least for me, like, marriage-wise. Godly people, rooted, like, have it together. They know what they want to accomplish in their life. They have amazing kids and grandkids, like, always intentional, So I think seeing that and just, like, how do you mirror that, but, like, not know how to do it. And so I think then what started happening is feeling like this is when, I know for me, I started drinking. Like, I think we're, Jordan's 2, almost 3 at this point, and not really just knowing how to, again, I think the Lord was just so kind at, like, try it your way, and I'm going to break you, and we're going to come back to this refining process. So walking around the mountain, being an Israelite. And for me, finally, like, like, drinking and abusing that. And then I think for you, like, because now it's okay, we're of age, we're doing it responsibly, it's okay. And using that to, like, go on date nights, and we would just drink and manipulate that instead of actually having real intentional conversations to, like, get on the same page, really truly work on our marriage.
I'm sorry, it's hilarious.
Distracted by our kids trying to move Amazon boxes into the house. But yeah, just manipulating that within our marriage. And yeah, I'm a control freak. So, like, drinking was never something I wanted to do, but I did it out of a, like, to please you, instead of having a conversation about growth and, like, how to get on the same page. So then if you fast forward, yeah, like, drinking, I think, really started taking this, like, toll on, well, we can do it responsibly. Oh, well, we can, like, do it at home, and, like, the kids are little. Or we'd go out on dates and we'd do it, and the kids would be asleep when we get home. So even if we were, like, drunk, they wouldn't know. They wouldn't see us like that. And just continually, like, justifying why we could do it, instead of realizing that, like, we actually have things that we need to talk about and we need to work through. And so that, I think, took a really big, it took root. And it was very unhealthy. I mean, we knew how alcohol affected your family, how it affected my family, and we still allowed it, thinking that we could control it when really it was controlling us. And so then, yeah, I mean, that was like, I think that was another low of feeling like, who are we now? Because we're always trying to alter who we are with a substance. And so, yeah, again, I think the Lord just kept showing us that you can't do both. Like, he'll let you do both, but you can't say that you want to submit to what he has for your life and think that you can still do these things and justify these things.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, because for me, like, that, I never knew there was a relationship with him. So to me, it never seemed, I guess I didn't struggle there. So like, I had already drank.
Yeah.
So drinking was no big deal to me. Because even at that point, like, I wasn't no longer drinking to get drunk.
Yeah.
And I've always seen it as like, yeah, you just go to church.
Yeah.
So to me, I was just like becoming what I thought was just a normal person.
Right.
And I'd matured in my mind as far as when I thought of maturity as an age. So like, yeah, I had the good job, making plenty of money. If I needed to work more because we wanted something, that was easy. Yeah. And like, so tunnel visioned on that, because that's, I mean, I guess I understand the altered life in that. For me, that became my new focus, was like, I want to now look a certain way.
Yeah, we were trying so hard to fit in. Like, we were always inserting ourselves, willing to look like the people around us so that they would accept us and we would be able to, like, again, I think it's thinking that we're gonna look a certain way, be able to do certain things, have access to things, when ultimately, like, God doesn't call us to look like the world.
Yeah.
And
so at that point, I still just didn't understand, like, what you thought was so bad about drinking.
Yeah. And I think at that point, that was when, like, I started drinking, and, like, because if I started drinking, I had to get drunk. So there was no, like, in between for me, which personality wise makes sense. Like, I'm typically an all or nothing type person. And so for me, it was like, how can I, if I get drunk and meet an expectation of whoever I'm around, you or people or whatever, then, like, I kind of can live with myself / not really remember, so I don't have to live with really knowing how I was altering who I was.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that just kept eating at me of, like, how is this representing everything that I know that God has done in both of our lives? Like, this cannot be what this was meant and intended to be. And so
I hadn't had that revelation yet.
Yeah.
Like, I hadn't come, like, that come to Jesus moment. And then, yeah, so, like, if you were intimidated to talk about that, or what you saw the Lord doing, I'm not saying I wouldn't have received it, but I don't think I would have had the answers like I do now.
Yeah.
Which, hence why, like, what I believe now and the identity stuff that I really live by makes sense. But at that point, I wasn't thinking like that.
No.
And like you said, I remember even coming to you because I just knew it was important to go to church. Like, why aren't you taking my kids to church?
Yeah.
And I could justify, I got to go work. Like, throw that in your face of, like, well, I can't go because I got to go work. But, like, you need to get my kids in church.
Yeah. And then just feeling like, again, yeah, I think what the world says, like, success, money, trips, have the house, the kids, the cars, the job, like, the title, like, we've lived through that in, different capacities. And, like, now, of course, hindsight is always 20/20. Like, sure, it got us to the point that we're at now. So thankful, like, grateful that the Lord used it. But, like, I don't think I would ever tell people, like, oh yeah, like, just go try it. Like that is so, because it was not what the world makes it out to be. Like it was so enslaving. I felt so confined, so trapped. And like to know that now when you walk in full freedom and operating of like, okay, God, like you want us to start our own business. You want us to like our move here, so many things that I know we're going to go over in another episode, but like that was freedom. That was this life we live now. It feels like the realness of who God is and in encountering him daily, moment by moment, and just constantly being so saturated in who he is that like, again, I know you can't convince me otherwise. Like I've done it the world's way, and like that brought nothing except for more brokenness, more hurt, more frustration, and more shame.
Yeah.
But like to know that like walking in what God has for us it's worth everything.
Yeah.
It really is worth everything.
Well, that's what I never want to forget. Like I think it was so important. It was the necessary thing to get us to where we're at.
Oh, for sure.
Like I don't think we would believe the way we believe without going through that.
Yeah.
So like he truly uses all things.
100%.
And so like, yeah, I guess I'm not being like, oh, I'm proud, but like, yeah, like I'm thankful for what we've walked through, because now again we're just learning of all the different people we can relate to.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like that intimidates me now.
Right.
When we walk through with young adults of like, oh, like I don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Like no,
this is true.
I feel like I literally can relate to almost every story, situation, and I love it because like it's what allows you to go further in the kingdom. Like Peter wasn't able to do what Paul could do because Paul had a whole different pedigree. He could speak different languages. He had been around government stuff. So like he was able to take the gospel way further than what somebody else could do. And so, especially for this generation and where I feel like God is wanting to meet them, like you can't have a better story and the things that we walked through to really like unite that.
Yeah.
And meet them again, not like to be like the world, but knowing like we've been in that, and it just relates to them. I think that's to me where I feel that impact truly stem from.
Yeah.
Is like I'm not afraid to talk about these things. I'm not afraid to be real. I never lived a perfect life, and yet like I needed to go through that. That's where I don't feel like I missed it. I wasn't so anxious about making sure I was constantly in the will of God. Like that was the will of God. And what he took me through, I get to now like see his power, see his grace, see his intentionality, learn his character far greater than I think it would have been if I would have just stayed on the straight and narrow, I guess. I don't know. Like, and again, that's not even to diminish somebody who lives a really good life and doesn't ever do drugs, doesn't ever do that. Like, no, like I'm not advocating to do drugs and drink. But it's just a different story. So now I can relate to both. I can get in any realm, in any circle, and speak directly to the identity portion of what you're missing, what's separating you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think where we're going to end today is in this like pivotal moment again of, so yeah, we go into the end of 2019, and the Lord was like, hey, well, I guess it would have been the end of 2019. We started tithing, and we started tithing and really trying to be intentional in our marriage. Like we joined a small group, which ended up only being us and one other couple, and God used that to just advance our faith. So I remember writing 6 months, you were getting a salary, so we wrote 6 months worth of checks, even dated them to tithe.
Did we do the marriage book first though?
No, so that comes next.
Okay.
So then we do that, and I remember being like, we can't even afford to do this. Like, we can't afford to tithe. And it was kind of like that moment of like,
which is crazy. That's
so dumb. And yeah, just how God like honored that obedience, that small bit of obedience he honored. And then how we were literally doing the Circle Maker book.
Yep.
And just like praying around things together.
Yeah. See, I was already thinking Radius, but we're still at.
We're doing both at this point.
Are we?
Yeah, we were going on Saturday nights.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
And
right.
so then I loved it because we were reading the Circle Maker. We start tithing. The end of the year comes, and we feel like I knew the Lord said, be available. And I was like, what? You've never given me a word, Lord, at the beginning of the year. Like, when people would say that, I'd be like, I'm so jealous. I want a word. And he was like, be available. And I was like, oh, crap. And I remember it this way. I remember being in Target, and Amy Melton, who at the time, and still to this day, I'm like, strong woman of God. Like, if I could be somebody, I want to be an Amy Melton. Like, and her and Brandy Griffith. Anyway, they were in Target, and every single time the Lord used them in Target to talk to me. Loved it. Women that are like, yes, okay, Lord. And even though I reached out to them at one point and they were like, we've never heard of this book. So I'm like, this is crazy. I remember you told me. So they recommended, I was like, this is what God's doing. You know, they both, well, especially Amy knew my mom, and they were just like, okay, well, like, if this is what you feel like God is doing, read this book, do this devotional. It's a marriage devotional. See if Tim will do it with you. And I remember this is like this moment, and which is hilarious because I have literally asked them and they're like, we've never heard of that book before. And I'm like, y'all told me and I bought it because y'all said that it was so amazing. They have no idea what it is. But anyway, so I remember getting these devotions. They're 30-day. So it's like wife in pursuit, husband in pursuit.
It was 21.
Nope, 30. And we do these. I asked you and you were like, I'm not doing this with you. And I was like, okay.
Really?
Yes.
I remember.
Yes. You were like, I'm not doing this with you because it was like a devotion. And you were like,
about that stuff.
You were not about that. And then I was like, can you please just do this with me? Like, because you have to be on the same days. Like, this is something you have to do together. And you're like, fine, I'll do it. And I remember being so grateful. Like, so incredibly moved by being literally on the same page, learning the same things in our marriage. Oh my goodness, like having a moment right now. Like, good Lord, wow, look at what God just does. Like, being together, being one, being side by side, thinking intentionally about the other one, and just watching how God was like giving us everything we desired to advance us. Like, that was the starting point. And I remember just being so seen by you and like feeling like, who is this man? This is and again, like the moment of like God saying like, I've heard your cries. I've heard your prayers. Just continue to wait. Wait on me, but wait on Tim. And I remember that's when you bought me, like, because I'm not a gifts person, and you bought me a backpack, my Parker Clay bag that I really wanted, because one of it was like, one of the tasks was like you had to buy something intentional for the other person. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Like, you were so intentional because I had talked about it and you remembered it and you bought it. I remember when it showed up and I was like, what in the world? Like, so baffled and shocked. And yeah, how you know, then we go into 2020 and we go to Arizona and Disneyland with my parents and with Aunt Kim and Uncle Joe, and Disneyland gets shut down. 2020, COVID happens. And that is literally where I feel like everything we had gone through up until that point, God was like, and this is why it was our Esther moment. Like, you were made for such a time as this. Like, that was the moment that I feel like when I get to heaven and I ask God, he's going to be like, that was the moment. That was the moment that everything you guys had gone through, everything that you had cried, everything you had prayed about, everything you were disobedient about was for that moment. To be the moment where it had to change. And then that's where I want to end. Because I think that is the second half of this. So that's where we're going to end. Thanks for bearing with us. Raw, real, intentional. But I think the biggest thing is just knowing that no matter what you're going through in your life, no matter what you've been through in your life, that God sees you, he knows you, and he is showing up for the walk, and he is so consistent. He's so intentional that if you are willing and available to just try to see it, don't let your circumstances define who you are, but allow those circumstances to soften whatever God is trying to teach you, and try to just see him in it. Because when we start to see God in an intentional way, then you start to realize like who actually holds you. You don't hold yourself. Tim doesn't hold me. I don't hold Tim. But really, truthfully, the God of the universe, he created you to be in this moment, in this time, at this exact appointed time. He is calling you to something so much greater than yourself. And every seed, every watering is for a harvest that you will be blown away by. And that all of the people in your life that God has called you to are going to see it, and they are going to be touched by it. And just having that hope that everything that you have gone through, good, bad, and the ugly, is meant to be a refining moment to just draw you closer to who God is and who he is inside of you, so that you can give that little glimpse of hope to somebody else. And I think the biggest thing is just knowing that God just is so intentional. He's so intentional. So I hope this blessed you. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming along with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being intentional. And if this is your first episode that you've watched or listened to, thank you. I hope that you continue to stick around. I hope that this blesses you. And if this is the 4th or 5th episode that I think this is our 4th, that you've listened to, like, thank you. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for walking with us. And just continue to go out there and be intentional with others and be intentional with your walk with the Lord.
It's good.
Can't wait to see you guys next time.
Heightened awareness.
Yes.
Heighten your awareness.
Oh, that's good. Let it illuminate.
It's good.
All right. Well, Tolo's out. We got some things to do. Have a great day. And yeah. Thank you.
Love y'all.
We love you. High five.